From the City of Angels, you are listening to the James Salazar Media Podcast. On this week's episode, shocker, we're going to talk about pop culture, politics, and futurism. So let me strike the music, and I'll meet you on the other side.
Engage.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Say hello to my little friend.
No, I am the Father.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
And welcome, everyone, to the James Salazar Media Podcast, where you get your dose of pop culture, politics, and futurism. I'm your host, James Salazar. How is everyone doing today? Now, a lot to talk about, right? The Grammys were last night. And I really don't care too much about the Grammys, but I'll give you a little rundown. Pretty much Beyonce won the most Grammys ever in human history. So good for her. I really haven't checked out her album. I just hear that one song where she's on the horse, and it's a very noisy song, so I don't care for it. Sam Smith decided to worship the devil on stage. Well, good for him, I guess. Lizzo won something, and I like her singing personally. She's probably going to die very young, so she'll probably be the first one who overdosed on food, like all these other great artists who died before their age. She's probably going to be the first, what's his name? Janis Joplin died of drugs. Jimi Hendrix died of drugs, overdose, and Lizzo will die from eating too much. That's sad. Harry Styles won. His family went crazy. His fans went crazy. His family went crazy. Super popular guy. I don't hate his music. He likes wearing dresses. That's good for him. Woke crowd like to celebrate it like it's something we should shoot for. But we have a real problem with masculinity in our society today, and unfortunately, we can't look to him to that. You can't look to these stars for anything. These people are not normal people. And they could have been more normal people, but once they start getting that much fame, I think something clicks in their brain, and they just go crazy, and they believe stupid shit. And they're in a certain religion, is the best way to put it. They're put into this religion of fame where you have to believe certain things and act a certain way. And I don't even know if I'm above it if I got super famous. But at the end of the day, don't look to these people for any kind of wisdom. They hurt politics more than advance it. So, the Grammys happened last night. Miley Cyrus has a song called Flowers, where she talks about how she doesn't need Chris, what's his name? I want to say Chris Hemsworth, but Liam Hemsworth, how she doesn't need him anymore. And it's like a couple years later, I don't think she's over him. That song would have been good at the moment. But it's been years since they broke up, and she came out with a song. So that sounds like she wants him to buy flowers, and she wants him to write her name in the sand because she's still singing about him. She must be exhausting with her friends, constantly talking about Liam Hemsworth and how he doesn't love her anymore. It's a great song. It sounds like When I Was Your Man by Bruno Mars. I think there might be some plagiarism there that Bruno might want to take her to court with. But yeah, you're writing a song how you're over this person, you don't need this person 3 years after they broke up, or what is it, like 2 or 3 years? Well, that's a sure sign you're not over them. You should have wrote something similar right when the breakup or the next album. Taylor Swift, she always has good timing. on that. She always puts it in the next album. You missed it. You missed a moment. So no one. It's a great song, and it's gonna probably do lots of money, but nobody buys that you're over him. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I want to go over some TV shows I've been watching. We're on a 5 potato scoring list. So the first show I enjoyed was King of Tulsa. Sylvester Stallone. This is made by the people who've done Yellowstone. And they decided to mix the New York mob world with, cowboys in Tulsa. And I liked it. It was really good. Sylvester Stallone is right up his alley. He does a good job, plays a tough guy. And the people in the show are all good characters. And the mobsters are all good characters. I buy it. It's good. It's fun. A lot of violence, a lot of cursing, good story writing. I enjoyed it. I definitely give it 4 potatoes. I don't want to spoil it for you, but if you liked the Yellowstone, and I haven't watched the 1920 prequel with Indiana Jones. My mind's going blank today. Harrison Ford. I watched the first one with Face Hill and her husband. I don't know these people's names. That one was great. That one was awesome. And the daughter in that was awesome. But I already talked about that. She was great. And that's supposed to be the next one. Yellowstone was pretty good. Finally, and there'll be some spoilers here. In 1, 2, 3, Jamie gets the upper hand over Beth. Which he always had, but somehow he just got the courage to use it. And Beth is going off the deep end. And Rip is always my favorite character. When he gets mad, there's nothing better than Rip getting mad. And Kevin Costner is always amazing. And things change, but it looks like the next season, whatever's going to be happened to Jamie and the family and the split should come into fruition. Someone is going to die. I'm pretty sure Jamie's going to die. But when Beth dies, and this is a prediction, Rip kills Jamie. However that works its way out, that's what I think is going to happen. Because they have treated him so bad, and he's betrayed them so much that this can't go on. It's gonna jump the shark. It's gonna get stupid. So they've set things up, and I'm excited to see what happens. It's not the best season. It's a lot of setting up and a lot of circumstances. It's always good to see the cowboy stuff. That's why people watch it, and they have a lot of that still, which makes it great. And so I definitely give it 3.5 potatoes. Doesn't get 4. Doesn't get 4 potatoes like the other ones. 5 potatoes. Very few things get 5 potatoes. So, but it gets 3.5. But I don't hate it because it's not a bad score. It's really inching up to a 4 because they set up a lot of stuff. Certain people had to go, and the Duttons, the father, he's in a different position now where he can't do the things that he used to do. So, yeah, 3.5 potatoes. A show I really like by Showtime called Let the Right One In. It's really good. It's about vampires and a really medical way of looking at it. But really, the lengths you would have to go to, and you're going to get this really quick. This is not a spoiler. It is a spoiler. But the lengths you have to go to if your young daughter was bitten by a vampire, and to keep that secret, and what you would have to do, and the obvious things, that the sacrifices you would have to make, the evil decisions you would have to make. And it's really good. I like it because they treat vampirism as a disease, and we see that part of it, and then we see this other part, and worlds colliding. Was really good first season. It gets 4.5 potatoes. Watch Let the Right One in. Great acting by the little girl and by the father. Everybody is phenomenal in this. It's really good. The movie moves really, the TV show moves really well. Send 10 shows and gives a good cliffhanger. You're really wondering what's going to happen next. The next movie I wanted to talk about was Jack Ryan. I've really liked this show. They've gotten 4.5 potatoes the last 2 seasons. This third season, very disappointing. I just didn't even finish it. I think the interaction between Jack Ryan and his boss, who was always over him, that doesn't happen very much in this new season, and that's sorely missed. Those 2 actors playing off each other, and always looking for that spoiler in 1, 2, 3. Jack Ryan is running. He frames, so he's running most of the show, and it's got to be super compelling if you're going to be doing that. So I think that it gets 2.5 potatoes. It still has its moments, and there's intrigue in it for sure. And the actors are always great. I just wish they put them together more often, and it wasn't enough, and it just wasn't as good as the last 2. Next one is The Recruit, new show on Netflix. It's about this kid who gets hired by the CIA, and he gets in a lot of trouble really quick. He's smart on his feet, but his long-term actions gets him into trouble. He's falling in trouble over and over and over again, and his quick wit gets him out of it. And he's charming, funny, so it's a great show. Everybody surrounding him is great, and it plays on how everybody wants to stab your back in the CIA. Everybody's out for their own shit, and makes it more interesting. He needs people help, but you don't know if you should ask that person for help, because do they got his back or do they got their own back? It's a super fun show. I gave it 4.5 potatoes. I enjoyed The Recruit very much. Watch The Recruit on Netflix. And then, you know what? I've been upset at Disney because they're going too woke. And so I stopped watching. I didn't pay for Disney Plus. And most of it was that in Disneyland, I know they're 2 separate things, but it's just the mentality. In Disneyland, they took out the meeting with the princesses, and my daughter went. We had a season pass, and we went to see the princesses every time because my daughter Scarlett loved it. We took so many pictures of it. Was her wearing her own dress. She was a pirate one time, and they got rid of that because of woke. Because of, there's like a biker gang. Dang. Holy crap, it's the Hells Angels. Whatever. Hold on, let's pause. I'm not going to talk over these loud people. Literally, 75 Mongols and their bikes just went past my house on Painter Boulevard in Whittier. That was interesting. Where was I at? So I never wanted to. I was upset at Disney because they took out the princesses. And because of woke, because they're fielding this idea that there's no difference, that any man could be a woman, any woman could be a man. And they went woke and they took it out. And nothing changed that the princesses are the princesses, but they just didn't want to deal with people saying that a boy saying that they're princesses or whatever. I mean, you can just go there and ask the person what they are. The little kids, what are you today? Well, I'm Peter Pan, or I'm a boy, whatever, or I'm a princess. And, call the kid what he wants to be called, I guess. That's part of the job description. Even though, if you're going to get that job, that's your job description. But they took it out. So I was very upset at that because I have nieces that are not enjoying taking pictures with the princesses that they watch on the Disney show. So I was very upset at that. But I warmed up and I watched Willow because Willow, I watched that when I was young in the 80s and always had a soft spot in my heart. And they came out with Willow TV show. And I watched it and this is my review of it. I liked it. I thought it was cool. It borderline deals with woke stuff and I don't want people not to be represented, but it has to be written well. It just has to be written well. You have to buy it, right? And it just seems so now sophisticated that those woke moments of and I'll exploit it in 1, 2, 3. There's a best friends that where she's a knight and she's a princess and they have unspoken unrequited love, and it gets revealed, and it wasn't too bad. There were some clever things about it that tried to get you to the moment where you want to see them kiss, but it didn't get me there. And not because of any personal things against it, because I've seen things that was written well that had a gay couple, but was written well. One of the best shows that did it well, and hold on, Schitt's Creek. That's the show. That show had a lot of gay kissing, a lot of gay affection, but it was written well, so well, super funny. One of the best comedy shows I've seen in a long time, and everybody was excellent in it. So you could write it good. You don't have to preach or tell some story. And Will, don't get me wrong, Will wasn't too bad. It was majority about the adventure. And that's why I kept on watching it. And that's why it gets 4 stars. I thought it was good. And I liked how they set up the next thing. And I don't want to spoil any more of it because it's an adventure. And each character has their evolves. And this is the point I want to make, is that some people, the evolution of people is to wokeness, or the evolution of the person is of their character. Though they have a woke story, they have a non-traditional story line or attraction. You got to go for the character building, because we all can relate to the character building. But when their evolution becomes, oh, I should be woke, that's when it gets bad writing. I shouldn't see that change. If you want people to accept, you're trying to make people accept this thing, then act like it's not there and that it's normal. That's the way to do it. But when you're trying to make a point and preach, you are highlighting that it's not normal and it needs to be shown that it is normal through arguments. I don't know what this is. So, for potatoes, those are good. I want to preach no more. Let's get into some futurism right now. So, Elon Musk is about to ignite his Starship Super Heavy booster, and the Starship are going to ignite. It's going to be the very first thing that they're going to do. They're going to ignite the boosters. It's going to come in the next couple of days. It's Monday, February 6th. And the next couple of days, they're going to ignite these boosters. And it's a big moment because they are planning for the next month to actually lift off the most biggest rocket in human history. Biggest ship in human history, and launch it into orbit. It will be just the attempt will be record-breaking, history-making. Watch out for that. That's going to happen in the next couple of days. And if that goes well, and everybody thinks it should, it's just going to ignite the boosters. If for some reason that ship blows up, we're back. We're behind by 6 months to a year. If that goes well, they're going to lift off. And if that goes well, the lift off, it doesn't explode. It does everything that it's supposed to do, travel where it needs to be, and the gigantic booster lands back. Because that's Elon Musk's claim to fame, that what makes space travel economical is that we can reuse these boosters. Then, plans to the moon and to the Mars will accelerate. And it will be possible with these two and liftoffs, probably maybe about 3 or 4 liftoffs. After that, and everything goes well, we're planning towards the Mars before the end of this decade. We should have someone heading to Mars before 2030 if everything goes well. So, you ever wonder what happened to Elon Musk's car that he launched into space? Well, so far, as of right now, I thought this was interesting. It has traveled 2.5 billion miles. That is 4 billion kilometers, mostly through barren space. And it approached, in 2020, approached Mars and came within 5 million miles of it. That's 20 miles of distance from the Earth to the moon. So, yeah. That's amazing. But we have that new James Webb telescope that's pretty awesome. We should go, we should have people. Because a lot of people believe that's fake. And a lot of people believe the moon, that the Earth is flat. A lot of people believe crazy stuff. So we should try to, not that people would believe it anyways, but we should try to, with the James Webb, just spot it. Take a day to try to spot it. That's all I'm saying. It'll be cool. It might be beat up, or my hat is exploded by a meteorite. You never know. There's no insurance for that. So the last thing I want to talk about is the space race. You know, what's his name? Neil deGrasse Tyson says there's no motivation to do the space race like it was back in the day. It was country against country. Well, my friends, we now have a reason. We now have a reason. And it's called Helium-3. Now, Helium-3, as you know, the most cleanest, efficient fuel we have right now to give us electricity is nuclear power plants. And I'll say this, how you know someone's truly into want to save the environment if they are against nuclear power plants, then they really don't want to help They really don't want to help global warming. They really don't. They're really not. It's really not important to them. They're taking the religious side as opposed to the practical side. They're about controlling people and economies and not actually fixing the environment, actually dealing with global warming. Okay? So, more power plants. But it's not as good as we can, because right now, uranium, we split it and creates a fission, and that fission creates a waste, and that waste is so hot it burns. It boils the water, and the water comes out at such a pressure point, runs turbines that create electricity. That's basically it, right? But we want fission where we pull straight from the reaction and create energy that way, and it just hasn't worked. We've tried different elements, but everyone are pretty much in agreement that if we take deuterium and helium-3, and that we could have an amazing energy, abundant source of energy. But it's really hard, right? Because helium-3 comes from the sun. And our Earth's atmosphere, that thing that protects us, our ozone layers, pretty much kills it. And when it hits the, I can't think right now, that air barrier where they come in and you see the spaceship burning high, well, it burns all the helium-3 up. It never gets on Earth. Very little gets onto Earth. But the moon doesn't have that. So there are thousands of tons of helium-3 up in the moon. And the people who can get it first will have an advantage. So we are in an energy race right now. Our space race is based on a more cleaner source of energy, a cleaner source of nuclear fusion. And China knows it's up there. Everybody knows it's up there, and everybody wants a piece of it. And it is just on the surface of the moon. So, my friends, in this space race, one payload of helium-3 from the moon can pay for all the energy of the United States for 1 year. That is billions and billions of dollars. My friends, we're going to the moon. And so is any other country that can get there. So they can use helium-3. Helium-3 will also enhance militaries as well. So we're at a very interesting time in human history. Very interesting time. There's some other stuff up there that I'll get into in the Future Republic show. We'll do that this week. But helium-3 is way more than a motivator. It will power any space station. It will power our starships. Most likely, we're going to set up a space station or shipyard by the moon, by this energy. So, and China, the moves that China is trying to make was balloons and America seeming weak. We just had a balloon come over from China, a spy balloon, and the Biden administration did nothing. People complained, so they shot one down. But we're looking like there's almost 30 balloons that they didn't do anything about. The Biden administration would have been better to say, hey, this is the reason why we're not doing it, as opposed to go, oh, I think we should do something now that you're upset. It just seems they're very reactionary. They don't think ahead, this administration. They're always falling into shit, right? For me, if my friend gets raided because his brother hid shit in his house, I'll be let me check. My brother spent the night down my house, and let me check if he didn't, if he left anything. That's the first thing I would do, right? Just make sure my T's are crossed, my I's are dotted. Joe Biden makes fun of Donald Trump, condemns him for having files that were secret, and then he has them in his own house. Yeah, the first thing you should have done once you knew that he had taken classified documents to see if you had some. That's exactly what I would do. Oh, hey, make sure, before I come on it, make sure I don't have any. Go around and clean that shit up, right? If I'm going to say something about someone, a politician, having adultery, I better make sure I'm not doing adultery, or all proof of it cannot be seen before I comment on it. If I don't, and I can be easily put in the same group, I don't comment on it. I don't say anything about it. They just don't think long term. They're very short. That pull out of Afghanistan, thousands of people have died, leaving billions of dollars of equipment. Wasn't anybody going to say that was happening? Didn't care. They just reacted. And calamity. That's the biggest problem with this administration. And China sees this. So it's throwing spy balloons, is seeing and weighing if they can take Taiwan. And while we're focusing on Taiwan, they want to get to the moon and steal all the helium-3. So we're in a very weird position right now. And to add to that, there is 500 million more men than women in China. And I'm going to say this, I'm going to curse. When you have that many men who don't have the option to screw women, get married and have a family, they're either going to turn on each other or they're going to turn on the government. And China has no answer for that because they have the one-child policy and they wanted it to be a boy and they killed all the girls. And now they have no women to fall in love, to meet the urges of men, whatever. Those men are going to get violent. And the quickest way to get rid of men, you have too many men than women, is to go to war and kill them off. China is looking for a fight. I'm telling you, China's looking for a fight. But they want to win the fight, but they want to have a good amount of those people who are Chinese, who are in the military, to die. And that means doing reckless things that will kill Americans. So they're looking for a fight. They're looking to take Taiwan, and they're looking to go to space and get helium-3 to become the dominant country in the world. Like I've always said, people are lucky that America is the most powerful military and economy in the world, because if it was Russia, if it was China, a lot of places would be taken over. Colonialism would be the ideal thing for major powers to do. And they would take over places and steal their resources, like all the powers did at one time. But now that America is pulling back from the scene, evil doers will do evil things. So I'll leave you with that. A little bit of everything today. This in my show links. It has everything I am doing, everything I sling, all the stuff. Wait a minute. Hey everybody, it's James Salazar with James Salazar Media here. If I can just have a moment of your time to talk about some of my shows and some free things I have for you. First of all, on my YouTube channel, I have the Brightburn YouTube Academy, where we talk about mindsets and belief systems of what it means to be an entrepreneur. We also have the Intellectual Anarchy Show, where we talk about politics, philosophy, and religion. I think they're inseparable from having a keen mind and intellect. We also have the James Salazar Media Podcast, where we talk about pop culture, politics, and futurism. Some free things I have for you. I have the Brightburn Society Facebook group. Here you gather with like-minded people on the same journey you're on meeting your goal, fulfilling your dreams, and what it means to be an entrepreneur. I also have a free handout, an ebook called How to Be Great at Everything You Do Blueprint. And also, if you want me to come speak at your event, or you need some life coaching, you can find both these links in the James Salazar /SLING address, or take a picture of my QR code, and we'll all link you to all this stuff. So thank you for your time and have a good day. Hey everybody, it's James Salazar. So, take a look at all that stuff. Gonna come out with a coaching program pretty soon here that everyone can be a part of. For people who may not have the income to hire a coach, it is through 30 years of what I think works, of counseling, performing on stage, live coaching, all that great stuff. That's coming out pretty soon. Keep an eye out for that. So my friends, with a storm of life to come against you, and you find yourself on your knees, stand tall. Take a look at that storm and say, what my sensei Jack Burton always says, give me your best shot. Strike the music. See ya. It's much harder to turn this off.